HDB price and sell BTO flats to make a profit? Hi, my name is Alan from Alan V Property. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to clarify that claims HDB price and sell BTO flats to make a profit. I know that to date, many Singaporeans still think this is a matter of left to right pocket or whatever you call it. I will explain it using very simple layman terms and quoting examples to illustrate my point. The Ministry of National Development or MND has pointed out that the videos posted by the TikTok user contain false statements of facts regarding public housing policies. Firstly, in that video, it stated that HDB price and sell BTO flats to make a profit. This statement is false, as mentioned by HDB. HDB clarified that it does not price and sell BTO flats to make a profit. It also said, unlike private sector developers, which are profit-driven, HDB price new flat with the objective of keeping public housing affordable to help Singaporeans own their homes. To determine housing affordability, HDB look at the resident household income and compare them with the range of flat types and selling price on offer at every BTO launch. It further mentioned in pricing new BTO flats, HDB established the market value of the flats by considering the price of comparable resale flats nearby and then apply a significant market discount to the assessed market values to ensure BTO flats are affordable for flat buyers. Wow, this is very cheap. Let me explain it with an example. Let me use Central Wave, which is a BTO project launched in 2022 for our discussion. Bound by Ang Mo Kio Avenue 8, Ang Mo Kio Central 2, and Ang Mo Kio Central 3. Central Wave at Ang Mo Kio comprise 5 residential blocks ranging from 21 to 32 stories. There are 896 units of 2-room flexi, which include some rental flats, 4, 5-room and 3-gen flats. Here, Central Wave selling price are as follow: from 198,000 to 232,000 for the 2-room flexi, to 535,000 to 676,000 for the 4-room, and so on. Thereafter, I break down the BTO prices using the maximum selling price and divide them by the floor area. The smallest 2-room flexi that measure 38 square meter will cost 567 in terms of per square feet. The 4-room that measure 90 square meter will cost 698 per square feet. The 5-room that measure 110 square meter will cost the highest at 741 per square feet, and so on. If you have noticed, the price per square feet for the 5-room flat is the highest in comparison to the 2, 4, and 3-gen flats. In terms of differences, the smallest 2-room flat PSF is 23% cheaper than the 4-room flat. The 4-room flat PSF is 6% cheaper than the 5-room flat, and so on. Why is this so? Well, HDB already said they look at household income to price the flats. If you are doing well and can afford a 5-room, you should be paying more. If you are of lower income, you can still afford a 2-room flat in a prime location. Let me share this with you. I have seen with my own eyes many low-income fellow Singaporeans buy 2 or 3-room BTO flats. Subsequently, they upgrade to a 5-room or even executive resale flats after selling the BTO flats for the fat profit. Frankly speaking, all this will not be possible without a leg up by HDB. Some can even own a car after selling their BTO flats. In addition, there are tier housing grants offered by HDB, such as the step-up housing grants, providing targeted help to those who need it the most. If you are a low-income family, you receive the most support from HDB. Because I own a 3-room resale HDB flat before, that is why I know. I receive a lot of subsidies from the government, from SNCC rebates to GST vouchers. Let me tell you this, bang, tidak boleh menggulu lagi. Back to the accusation that HDB sell BTO flats to make a profit. HDB said this statement is false. The amount collected from the sales of HDB flat in every financial year is less than the total development cost, which include land and construction costs and CPF housing grants dispersed to eligible home buyers. In the last 3 years, HDB incurred a deficit of about 2.68 billion per year. Again, very cheap to the layman. Here, let me use the Central Wave BTO project again. HDB mentioned it will incur a loss of up to 270 million for this Ang Mo Kio BTO project. This after non-constituency MP Leong Man Wai asked about the HDB net loss, the cost of land, and net profit for this project in Parliament. I previously mentioned this in my earlier video. You can refer to the links here again. Anyway, Ministry of National Development, Mr. Desmond Lee, said the estimated land cost is 500 million as derived by the chief valuer to build HDB flats. Firstly, let me calculate the gross sales proceed for Central Wave. This is simple math. I just estimate the average selling price and multiply them by the total number of units to derive the total revenue. To make sure my numbers are close as possible, I also cross-check with the total GFA. In short, the sales proceed is 568 million if HDB fully sold the project, which was fully subscribed by 16 times. For buyers that secure a unit here, I expect the 4-room to fetch 1.2 million and the 5-room to fetch 1.5 million when they hit the resale market. So for those that manage to get a unit here, please do more charity from now till MOP. You are all blessed. Back to the calculation, the land cost is reported to be at 500 million. Buyer stamp duty at 20 million. Land financing at 3% of 15 million. Construction cost at 269 million and so on. If I add everything together, the gross development value is 847 million. This is less than the 568 million in sales proceed. This means the loss is a significant 279 million. Some of you here may wonder, where got so good? HDB built flats for Singaporeans and yet lose money. Let me tell you this, it is really true. That is why I always say, HDB BTO flats can buy. If you can still remember my developer profit margin theory, HDB lose money building HDB flats. The hint is already so obvious. Some may argue that HDB should not add the land cost. The government has clarified that state land is part of the reserve and is not owned by SLA. As such, when state land is sold to HDB, the value paid by HDB accrue to the reserve and not to SLA. If HDB doesn't add in the land cost, this means they can sell the flat to you even cheaper. This boils down to what PM had said in his rally speech. What if you can get it and others don't? That is why HDB said it must be a fair system. The TikTok video also stated that SLA charge a premium when selling land used for HDB flats and that SLA make profits from land sold to HDB. Here, state land is sold to HDB for the development of public housing at the fair market value assessed by the chief valuer, not SLA. Let's use Central Wave as an example to illustrate my point again. Since the land cost is 500 million with a GFA of 1,325,000 square feet, this means the land cost is 377 per square feet per plot ratio. Most recently, a Lentor Garden GLS site was sold at 985 PSF PPR. This site was sold to a joint venture company comprised Guaco Land and Hong Leong Holding. This means the Central Wave site is 2.6 times cheaper than the Lentor site. Here, we haven't even factored in the better location attributes of Ang Mo Kio yet. Let's say the state is to sell this land to a private developer instead of building HDB flats. Based on a land area of 378,000 square feet with a plot ratio of 3.5, assuming a land rate of 1,000 per square feet per plot ratio, this site can easily fetch a cool 1.3 billion. Future selling price will likely be in the range from 2,002 to 2,005 per square feet. Any takers? Lentor Hill Resident and Lentor already sold more than 63% at this price range. Singaporeans will all chiong and buy Ang Mo Kio. You don't need to worry. Here, I really need to give our government credit to sell this prime land as a BTO flats instead of a private condo. They can easily make 700 million with a stroke of a pen. But they didn't. In other countries, they confirm sell prime land to developers, plus take a fat cut into their own pockets. build flats for the common people, you can tan kuku. Anyway, some will ask that the land cost be removed from the cost of building flats. Do you know all state land is part of the reserve? If they remove the land cost, our presidents have nothing to manage already. We don't even need to go for the presidential election on the 1st of September. By the way, out of curiosity, who is the likely winner based on their logo? High Five? Online? Or frankly speaking, I don't know what is this logo all about. Anyway, I'm very sure this video will attract a lot of haters. They love to fire me whenever I say good to the government. I leave it to you to judge. The many before and after you that have benefited from public housings. Some of you have even upgraded to a landed properties from their humble HDB flats. Anyway, none of my family members work in HDB. Neither is this a sponsored video. That's all. Hope you enjoyed my video. Appreciate if you can like, subscribe, and share this video around. Thank you so much.